Hare Krishna, dear devotee, space, accept our humble obeisances. All glories to Jagat Guru Sri Prabhupada. All glories to the revered speaker for today, His Grace YASODEVA Prabhu. And all glories to some of the Vaishnava devotees. We thank you all for being here. Today is Tuesday, the 16th day of September 2025. It's a special day, 16th day, which reminds us of our minimum 16 japa daily. And no wonder, by Guru Krishna's grace, we have His Grace YASODEVA with us today. Prabhuji is spoken on this platform a couple times, like 3 or 4 times. But due to his services, he is so difficult to get hold of. He's become like a raindrop to the Gobi Desert. And by Sri Guru Krishna's grace, today we have him with us today. So, Sri YASODEVA Prabhu, thank you so much and welcome back to your own home, Hare Krishna, Africa. It is our great honor to have your association once again after quite a long time. So without further ado, we hand it over to you and then you take it over from here. In case you may want to share something, we can give you that right. But we'll put the verse on the screen if you want us to do that.
I'm just planning to read the verses. That's fine.
All right. So let's do that.
Thank you, YASODEVA Prabhu. Prabhu, let me apologize in advance. I have terrible allergies and a little bronchitis, so I might be coughing, but I think I'll survive. It's not infectious through Zoom. So forgive me, please.
We are not afraid of infection. We are afraid of negative infection.
Okay. Well, Bhagavatam will vaccinate us against the material infection.
Sure, it always does. Yes.
So let's begin. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Reading from the Srimad Bhagavatam, 3rd canto, chapter 12, the creation of the Kumaras and others, text number 40 and 41. So text 40 says, Sodashuktau purva vaktrat parishagnishtutat ata aptoryama tiratraucha vajapeyam sagosavam. Do you sometimes repeat, or should I just continue?
If you want someone to repeat, we may do that, but we usually don't because it creates echo and things like that.
But I will do the word-for-word translation, if that's all right.
Yes.
Sodashi uktau, types of sacrifice. Purva vaktrat, from the eastern mouth. Purishi agnishtutau, types of sacrifice. Ata, then. Apturyama atiratrau, types of sacrifice. Cha, and. Vajapeyam, type of sacrifice. Sagosavam, type of sacrifice. You can guess what this verse is about. Translation by His Divine Grace, Srila Prabhupada. All the different varieties of fire sacrifices, Sodashi, Ukta, Purishi, Agnishtoma, Aptoryama, Atiratra, Vajapeya, and Gosava, became manifested from the eastern mouth of Brahma. Text number 41. Vidyadanam tapasatyam dharmasyeti padanicha ashramamscha yata sankyam ashrijat sahavritibihi. Vidya, education. Dhanam, charity. Tapaha, penance. Satyam, truth. Dharmasya, of religion. Iti, thus. Padani, 4 legs. Cha, also. Ashraman, orders of life. Cha, also. Yata, as they are. Sankyam, in number. Asrijat, created, saha, along with, vrittibihi, by vocations. Wow, does the name Sahadeva mean along with God? Sahadeva, is that what that name means, Prabhu? Here it says Saha is along with.
Well, my understanding is my Gurudev was trying to tell me that if I don't get along with devotees, I will get disappeared. So that's my understanding. But thank you for catching that.
Translation and purport by His Divine Grace, Srila A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada, Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai. Education, charity, penance, and truth are said to be the 4 legs of religion. And to learn this, there are 4 orders of life with different classifications of castes according to vocation. Brahma created all these in systematic order. Which is interesting because Krishna also says, Maya Sristam, Chaturvarnya Maya Sristam, I created. But of course, this whole 3rd canto is about Visarga, the secondary creation by Brahma. So he's also creating, even though Krishna claims the creation of the 4 orders as well. Anyway, let's read the purport. The nucleus of the 4 social orders, brahmacharya, or student life, grihasta, or household or family life, vanaprastha, or retired life for practicing penance, and sannyasa, or renounced life for preaching the truth, is the 4 legs of religion. The vocational divisions are the brahmanas, or the intelligent class, the kshatriyas, or administrative class, the vaishyas, or mercantile productive class, and the shudras, or general laborer class, who have no specific qualifications. All were systematically planned and created by Brahma for the regular promotion of self-realization. That's a great phrase there, regular promotion of self-realization. Student life is meant for acquiring the best education. Household family life is meant for gratifying the senses, provided it is performed with a charitable disposition of mind. Retirement from household life is meant for penance, for advancement in spiritual life, and renounced life is meant for preaching the absolute truth to the people in general. The combined actions of all members of society make the whole situation favorable for the upliftment of the mission of human life. The beginning of this social institution is based on education meant for purifying the animal propensities of the human being. The highest purificatory process is knowledge of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, the purest of the pure. Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai. Om Jnana Timarandasya Gyananjana Shalakaya Chakshurun Militam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha Shri Chaitanya Manobhishtam Stapitam Yena Bhutale Svayam Rupa Kadamahyam Dadati Svapadantikam Vandeham Shri Guru Shri Yuta Parakamalam Shri Gurun Vaishnavam Cha Shri Rupam Sagrajatam Sahagana Raghunathan Vitam Tam Sajivam Sadvaitam Savadutam Parijana Sahitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Shri Radha Krishna Padam Sahagana Lalita Shri Vishakanvitam Scha He Krishna Karuna Sindhu Dinabandhu Jagapate Gopesha Gopika Kanta Radha Kanta Namostute Tapta Kanchana Gaurange Radhe Vrindavaneshwari Vrishabhanu Sutta Devi Pranamami Hari Priye Vanchakalpatarubhyascha Kripa Sindhubhya Evacha Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha Jaya Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Srivasari Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare. Hare Krishna. We're so fortunate to have the purports of His Divine Grace, Srila Prabhupada, to help us to always remember what is the goal, to keep things in relative perspective. Because while Varnashrama is very important, most important is knowledge of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, the purest of the pure. As Prabhupada's saying in this last sentence here, the highest purificatory process is knowledge of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. While all of these ashramas and varnas are meant for, what did he say here? Regular promotion of self-realization. We should remember that that's accomplished very easily and automatically by intense hearing and chanting about Krishna. Tivrena bhakti yogena, like the intensity of a ray of light from the sun. It's so powerful that even from far away, if you're in this direct sunlight, you feel that intensity cooking your skin even. So tivrena, that's what that means. Very intense devotional service. And that can accomplish all of these other things. And frankly speaking, that's a large part of the theme of this third canto of Srimad Bhagavatam. It's about Visarga. Visarga means the secondary creation. Of course, the Lord creates everything. He's Sarva Karana Karanam, the cause of all causes, right? But within each universe, Brahma, the empowered living entity, a jiva, actually like you and me, but highly qualified and empowered to do great service for the Lord, he does a secondary creation. He has to make things according to the blueprint created by the Lord. And so in this third canto, we're hearing about some of that creation. And especially in this 12th chapter, we're hearing about how Brahma desires to populate this universe with living entities. And so he produces some sons in the form of the Kumaras, Narada Muni, and others. Who else? There were some rishis, Atri Rishi. I took a note of it somewhere. Hold on a second. There's Atri Rishi, Marichi, Angira, Pulastya. These are the Sapta Rishis, the 7 principal rishis. So he created all of these sons with the aim of populating the universe. But then what happened? Some of them, they said, well, Father, with all due respect, we'd rather not be involved in populating the universe. Quite notably, Narada Muni and the Kumaras, the 4 Kumaras, they saw, well, the actual purpose is to become fully dedicated in service to the Lord. So why go through this process of this Varna and Ashrama thing? We don't need to do all of this. We're renouncing right now. The Kumaras were only children. It's hard for us to understand the time scale, of course, but they maintain forms like children just so that they'll never have to experience the woes and suffering of puberty. I assume everybody in this room is an adult, so I won't ask everyone to share some of your embarrassing puberty stories. But the 4 Kumaras, they remember, or they know, having an adult body means it comes with all these desires and all this stuff that you want to do. Better we just remain as children, we'll stay detached and renounce, and just sing the glories of the Lord. At first, of course, they were impersonalists. As some of you may recall, I can't remember if that story is in the 3rd canto. Maybe it was earlier in the... I can't remember now. First, they were impersonalists, but by the good fortune of the Lord, they smelled the tulasi leaves coming from the lotus feet of the Lord, and that was enough to make them a devotee. Can you imagine? Maybe some of us can remember the first time we came in contact with devotees and we had this sensory overload. I remember the smell of it was called Gori Yoga in Wellington, New Zealand, when I was 18 years old and I met the devotees there. I remember the smell. They were frying samosas. There was incense, flowers everywhere. And I was 18 years old, so my home smelled very bad. And all the guys that I associated with smelled very bad. So I went into this place, and even the smell was attractive. So for the 4 Kumaras, just by smelling the tulasi that's been offered to the lotus feet of the Lord, they became devotees. That's pretty amazing. So anyway, they disappointed their father Brahma, as did Narada Muni, saying, this Varnashrama is not for us. We want to renounce right now, and we're going to just engage in the service of the Lord. So what we see in this chapter of the Srimad Bhagavatam is actually something very similar to what's going on in our modern ISKCON. If I may be a little controversial, because That's how everybody stays awake. You have to say something a little controversial. So if I may be a little controversial, this conflict that Brahma is having with his own sons, the Kumaras and Narada Muni, is actually very similar to the situation we have in our ISKCON community. Srila Prabhupada desired to establish Varnashram Dharma. He still desires to establish Varnashram Dharma. I don't know the exact reference, but I'm sure you've all heard the quote wherein he said something to the effect that 50% of my mission is unfinished, right? Referring to Varnashram Dharma. And yet at the same time, Srila Prabhupada also encouraged unconditional devotional service, very transcendental devotional service, regularly quoting verses like Savai Punksam Paro Dharmo Yato Bhaktir Hokshaje. Actually, the highest occupation is just to serve the Lord. He would regularly quote these. He would encourage the transcendentalists. He wanted devotees to be fully surrendered to Sankirtana. How often did he quote the verse spoken by Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu himself? Gopi Bhartu Padakamalayur Dasa Dasa Anudasa. He said, Lord Chaitanya is saying, I'm not a sannyasi, I'm not a brahmana, I'm not a householder, I'm not a kshatriya. I'm just a servant of the servant of the servant of the gopis. Prabhupada quoted this all the time. So we see actually in our own community also, and you know devotees who are on both sides. Even in our own community, there's this tug and pull. How much can we establish a certain order? What did Prabhupada call it in this purport? A regular promotion of self-realization, systematically planned regular promotion of self-realization. That's the Varnashrama culture. How much can we do that in our ISKCON? In our communities, our smaller communities, local communities, and also internationally, globally? How much can we create a systematic plan for regular promotion of self-realization? With order and with structure, with roles, a lot of roles, and roles come with hierarchy, and it comes with obligations and duties and Varnashrama. And at the same time, Sankirtan, Kevala Ananda Kanda. You just chant Hare Krishna and go back home, back to Godhead, as Srila Prabhupada said. We see actually, even now, there are devotees who are on both sides. Of course, surely the wisest among us, they see that there's no conflict, but I'm not one of the wise among us. I strongly on the side of Sankirtan. We're going back home, back to Godhead by chanting Hare Krishna. And that even our best attempts to act according to the rules and regulations of Varna and Ashrama, although they may be some beneficial, they may be some support, ultimately, that is not the cause of our awakening of devotion in our heart. It's not the cause of our going back home, back to Godhead, and not the cause of our spreading Krishna consciousness to others. So here's my controversial point. Not that you haven't heard it before, but I'll invite plenty of feedback because I want to learn as well. That these statements are everywhere in our Shastra. Dharma sunushtita punksam vishvaksena katasaya not parayadyadi ratim shrama eva hi kevalam. We've heard Prabhupada say this so many times, shrama eva hi kevalam. One can perform all sorts of occupational duties according to Varna and Ashrama. But if that doesn't awaken attraction for the message of the personality of Godhead, the desire to hear and chant more about Krishna, then it's just shrama. Shrama just means working hard, just for the work. Maybe some of you had a job where you did shrama. I did a little construction work. It was a lot of shrama. It's just sweating, breaking your back. And then, I had this really bad job working in a catering company in New Zealand. And I had to make something like 3,000 little potatoes in a very particular shape for this big catering gig for thousands of people. Like the Prime Minister of New Zealand was there. And there are all these, those gourmet potatoes that are very small. After I did thousands of these potatoes cut in a very particular shape, the head chef came up to me and he said, actually, I want them sideways, not lengthwise. And he literally threw them all out and made me start over again. So that's an example of shrama. These people are so wasteful sometimes. So shrama eva hi kevalam. We can put in a lot of hard work according to Varna and Ashrama. doing our occupational duties, following those rules and regulations, trying our best, really, to cultivate this regular promotion of self-realization, the systematic plan, and acting according to those obligations. But if it hasn't awakened an attraction to more hearing and chanting about Krishna, Shrama eva hi kevalam. This is a very interesting verse. What is it? First Canto, Chapter 2, text number 8. Because therein Sutta Goswami says Shrama, then he says eva, which means certainly. Then he says he, which means certainly. And then he says kevalam, which means certainly. Really emphasizing the point that the goal is to awaken a desire to hear and chant about Krishna. Transcendental Sankirtana. And if I may be so confrontational, dear devotees, if our attempts to I don't know, identify with and to make ourselves congruent with the culture of a certain varna and an ashrama becomes instead an impediment to our hearing and chanting, then it's certainly just useless labor. And unfortunately, we see that sometimes. That person's being too attached to a very particular superficial bodily conception, because varna and ashrama is the body. It's all about the body and the mind. And if one is too attached to that conception of their self, that upadi, and therefore prohibits them from hearing and chanting, then actually it's just shrama. I'm not going to say names, but I will tell a story of one friend of mine. At least I consider him a friend. Hopefully he considers me a friend too. Who, being very attached to wearing his wooden padukas and never having stitched cloth and only eating khichdi, never eating any Western bread or anything like that. He was very attached to his idea of what a brahmachari was supposed to be like. And who, because of that attachment, was unable to come out on book distribution, which is actually the service that he loved to do. But we were in California, and there's a winter in California, believe it or not. It was very cold, and he said it was too cold for him to go out because he wouldn't wear jackets. And I said, Prabhu, I will buy you a jacket. We can do some book distribution together. But being very attached to what he had seen from, basically read in even some scriptures that Srila Prabhupada didn't give us. There's much more detail in Manu Samhita and some other text about how every single person should dress and how they should walk and how they should talk and so many things. But it's actually, he admitted, it was an impediment to his doing of devotional service. Persons become attached to a particular, and I'm saying this with love in my heart. I mean, he's a friend, and he knows that we've had this back and forth. I'm just trying to give a small example. Of course, there are several more examples of devotees becoming very attached to a bodily conception of life, justifying it according to Varna and Ashrama, and then actually being impeded in the progress of devotional service. There are too many examples where even it can cause harm for themselves and for others. So did Srila Prabhupada want that? For us to be attached to an upadi? Or did he want, according to the definition of Rupa Goswami, sarva upadi vinir muktam? Sarva upadi. Rupa Goswami says all of these designations should be vinir muktam, completely cast away. Sarva upadi vinir muktam tat paratvena nirmalam. In the purified sense of self, with purified senses, Hrishikena Hrishikesha Sevanam Bhakti Ruchate. Then one can engage in service to Krishna, the master of the senses. It's a devotional service. So, how do we reconcile this, my dear devotee friends? Prabhupada said he wanted Varnashrama. He said 50% of his mission is unfulfilled because he didn't establish Varnashrama culture. But at the same time, he wanted transcendentalists, those fully surrendered to Sankirtan. Oh, I have one more reference, because I know I'm making a controversial point, so I have to back it up with scriptural evidence. That's the system. So don't shoot the mess. But this same topic came up in the conversation with Ramananda Roy and Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, the Supreme Personality of God in himself. Some of you might recall in the Madhya Lila chapter, I can't remember, wherein Lord Chaitanya meets with Sri Ramananda Roy and begins to ask him, what is the highest truth? Ramananda Roy says many things, and each time Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is urging him forward, saying, this echo bhaya, that's external. Let's go deeper. Let's go deeper. At some point in the conversation, Ramananda Roy, he quotes the Vishnu Purana. Famous verse. Varnashrama vata purushena para puman Vishnur aradite panta nanyat tosha karanam. The Supreme Personality of Godhead, Lord Vishnu, is worshipped by the proper execution of prescribed duties in the system of Varna and Ashrama. There is no other way to satisfy the Supreme Personality of Godhead. One must be situated in the institution of the 4 Varnas and Ashramas. That's a pretty clear verse from Vishnu Purana, right? But what does Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu say? He says, Eho Bahya. He says, this is external. You had better tell me of some other means. Thereafter, Ramananda Roy, you should all read this chapter if you haven't read it yet. It's just really wonderful, their conversation. Ramananda Roy goes deeper and deeper into offering the essence of all of one's activities to Krishna, always thinking of Krishna. Keeps going deeper and deeper until finally, of course, they're speaking about the topmost exemplar of devotion, Srimati Radharani. It's a wonderful chapter in Chaitanya Charitamrita. But herein we see the mood that Srila Prabhupada exhibited as well. Although Varna and Ashrama is, what is it here? A regular promotion of self-realization. It's a systematic plan. It's part of Prabhupada's plan as well. But still we should recognize ehobhaya. This is external. It is dealing with the body and the mind. And so we should relegate it to that level of importance like everything else with our body and mind. Not that the body and mind isn't important, but it has a relative importance, not as important as ecstatic hearing and chanting about Krishna. That's why Narada Muni says that actually, what's the use of performing all the great sacrifices and acting perfectly according to Varna and Ashrama Dharma if you haven't attained attraction for hearing the message of the personality of Godhead? What's the use? And then he says, and if you have attained attraction for hearing the message of the personality of Godhead, then what is the use of performing all the sacrifices and acting perfectly according to Varna and Ashrama Dharma? In all places of the Shastra, it's emphasized by our acharyas and by Srila Prabhupada that our goal is hearing and chanting about Krishna, not the perfect performance of this systematic, regular promotion of self-realization. Great though it may be, it is certainly challenging in this Kali Yuga. I, for one, am on team Sankirtan. Maybe because I'm not good at anything else. And I wonder if any of your devotees resonate with this. Sankirtan is for those of us who are not good at anything else. Perhaps some of your devotees are excellent at the performance of your Varna and Ashrama duties. I'm certainly not. Perhaps some of you are very great and studious in performing all the regular rituals that are required for the progress of a human being. The Garbhadana Samskara, the Agnishtoma, we just learned about them in the last verse. The Agnishtoma, the Utka, the Sodashi, the Apturyama, the Atiratra. I don't even know what most of these are. This is probably too late. Personally, I'm not in that category. I can't even remember if I chanted my second Gayatri, right? I won't ask anybody to raise your hands, but how many times in the evening you've like, hold on, did I even chant my second Gayatri in the midday? I can't even remember. Prabhu's. And you know what? Here's the kicker. The method of Krishna consciousness, prescribed by all the great acharyas and demonstrated by the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu himself, is that method which is specifically given to those of us who are very fallen and lowly in the Kali Yuga, because we can't do anything else. That's what that means. Chinada pi sunichena taroriva sahishnuna amanina manadena kirtaniya sadahari. We should think ourselves lower than the straw on the street because we can't do any of this stuff. We're not good at this. We're not good at sacrifice. We're not good at obligations and duties, right? We do the bare minimum. Maybe I can't speak for everybody here. Maybe some of you are really, really exemplary. But I know myself and a few others. When it comes to obligations and duties, we do that bare minimum. Okay, I did it. Now me time. I did the bare minimum that I have to, just so that the devotees won't say that I'm in Maya. I did my requirements. I did the bare minimum of my promise to Gurudev. Yeah, I chanted 16 rounds. I think I heard the mantra once. I did it. I'm done. Another day of mostly following the regulative principles, a little bit of gray area in what I eat and drink, right? There's always some debate about what you can eat and what you can't eat. The method of hearing and chanting about Krishna constantly, kirtaniya sada hari, is especially for those of us who are very low because we can't do anything else. We're not good at doing anything else. I think the sooner we come to terms with that, the sooner we can chant the holy names of the Lord with real feeling. Queen Kunti says this, right? In the 8th chapter of the 1st canto. Let's see if I can remember it. Where she says, no, I can't remember it. I'm sorry. What is that verse? Maybe you remember it, Sahadev. Where she says that one who is infatuated by pramada, gone mad by their beauty, their learning, their good birth, and their wealth, cannot chant the holy names of the Lord with real feeling. I can't remember that shloka now. It's such a good one. Anyway, she says they're unable to chant with real feeling. For someone who thinks, I have good birth, I have some beauty, I'm very smart, I'm intelligent, I've got degrees, I've got these pieces of paper on the wall. I paid too much money for them, but I've got it. That makes me better than somebody else. I see some smiles, you all know what I'm talking about. I have so much money, at least more than other people that I know. And so I've got a lot of things going on for myself. I've got a lot of good things. I've got a lot of assets. And so I don't need to take shelter of Krishna. Because I've got some money to take shelter of. I've got some beauty. I've got some learning. I have some strength, some power. So I don't need to fully surrender to Krishna because I got this other stuff I'm holding on to. I got these other things that lift me up, that hold me, that keep me going, that give me protection. So I don't need to fully surrender to Krishna. I don't really have to chant Krishna's. I don't need to beg Krishna for a shelter because after all, I got a house, assets, I'm doing all right. And then how can we chant with real feeling? How can we beg Krishna, please, I need your devotional service? If we're thinking, I've got it together. I've done all the rituals. Oh, thank you, Sadev.
Are you referring
Janma
to this?
Aishvarya, Shrutta Shribir, Edamana Mada Puman. Mada, it's like madness. Thinking that one's birth, one's Aishvarya, one's opulence, Shruta, your learning, or Shribir, your beauty, is somehow valuable. They can't chant. They can't chant with real feeling. This is what she's saying. Toma kinchana gocharam. But you are very easily approached by someone who's done with that, exhausted by that. My money isn't doing it. My beauty is fading. My strength is disappearing. My learning, I can't even remember anything. And anyway, AI is going to replace me. I'm literally not as intelligent as some little rectangle in my pocket. So a person who's finally exhausted with identifying with the bodily concept of life can finally chant with feeling. That's what Hare Krishna Kirtan is meant for. It's meant for us. It's meant for us. The very, very low and fallen persons in the Kali Yuga. Dear Prabhus, I'm not trying to get on anyone's case. I'm speaking about myself, 108%. So that when we chant, we say, Krishna, I can't do anything else. I can't do anything else. I could just chant your holy name. I could just barely pronounce your names. My Lord, that's it. And then you chant with feeling. And then you can really call out. In the Chaitanya Charitamrita, Srila Krishnadas Kaviraj Goswami, he prays, saying, Kripa Sudha Saridyasya Vishvam Aplavayantapi Nicha Gaiva Sada Bhati Tam Chaitanya Prabhum Bhaje. Lord Chaitanya has manifested, especially to save those who are most fallen. Just like the water naturally flows to the lowest place. It says that Lord Chaitanya's mercy is like the transcendental Ganga, which inundates the whole universe. And just as water naturally flows down to the lowest place, similarly, Sri Chaitanya especially favors those who are most fallen, Nicha Ga, right? Chanadapi Su Nicha. Nicha means very low and fallen. A real mess. So Lord Chaitanya especially favors those who are very fallen, not the ones who are thinking, I'm doing all right. I've got some status. I've got a position in my community. I've got some title, maybe. Got an official title. I got accolades on the wall with my name on them. I got a bank account with my name on it. I got so much going on for me. I'm so attractive. I'm so powerful. I'm so great. How can we chant with feeling like this? So let's pray like Queen Kunti's praying. Toma kinchana gocharam. You're easily attainable to those who are exhausted with janma, aishvarya, shruta, and shribir, with good birth, with opulence, with knowledge, and with beauty. When we're exhausted by those things, then we can easily approach the Lord. Tam akinchana gocharam. Dear devotees, I apologize for subjecting you to my little therapy session. This is my own personal therapy. I'm trying to get close to Krishna, but I'm still holding on to so many castles made of sand, thinking my body is pretty good, my assets are pretty good, the things that I control, they're great, my status is fantastic. Some people look up to me and they say Prabhu, and they even really mean it sometimes. And so therefore, Krishna, I'll really surrender to Krishna later. I've got time. Let me enjoy the things that I have now. This is that Shrama Eva Hi Kevalam. Do we have the courage? Do we have the courage? Do we have the great fortune to really consider ourselves so low that I can't do anything but chant Hare Krishna? Can we do that? I'm asking everybody to ask yourselves. Can I really look in the mirror and say, Yasodeva, you're a mess. You better chant Hare Krishna because you can't do anything else very good. It's so therapeutic, Prabhus. I've had the good fortune of having my Guru Maharaj tell me that to my face. Maybe that's why I'm really convinced, because he said it to my face. When one time in New Zealand, we did a Vyasa Puja ceremony for His Holiness Devamrita Swami. And I was part of the foot washing, and there are other devotees trying to do the artis and the mantras. We were just stuffing up everywhere. It was a disaster. And Gurudev was like, no, you're supposed to do like this, go like that. And he had this look on his face, and everybody's terrified because it wasn't very good. Then after this whole ordeal, I was walking him back to his room, and he was laughing the whole time. Some of you know His Holiness Devamrita Swami, how he laughs. And then he looked at me and he said, it's a good thing you all do Sankirtan because you're terrible at puja. And I took that like, yes, it's okay. I'm terrible at all this stuff. I can't do anything right. But I can chant the holy names of the Lord. I can say Hare Krishna Rama. I can call out Shri Radha Damodar, Radhe Sham. That's pretty much it. That's the extent of my skills in life. That's it. That's all I've got going. Everything else is just a farce, like an actor on a screen. It's not real. I'm just pretending that I'm in control here. When I tell my wife and my kids, I'm the man of the house, you do wise. I'm just pretending. It's not real. I'm not in control. It's just a farce. Why be attached to it? Why allow that to be an obstacle on my chanting of the Lord's holy names? So, dear devotees, today, the year of our Lord, 2025, September 16th, I'm deciding to get right with the Lord. I'm just going to surrender and chant the holy names like I can do nothing else. Today's the day. And if it doesn't work out, then tomorrow I'll try again. Because my understanding of the Shastra, and I'm willing to hear some feedback from the devotees present, my understanding of the Shastra is that is our goal. The performance of Varna and Ashrama, the performance of these sacrifices, all of these things that Brahma is trying to systematically create within the universe is valuable. It's valuable for everyone who is not fully surrendered to Lord Krishna. Narada Muni, the four Kumaras, they demonstrated that. So even on this high level, even on the high level of Brahma and Narada and the Kumaras, they have some conflict. We should be surprised if there's some conflict amongst our own devotees. Even way up there, they have this conflict. And they're saying, no, we don't need any of this stuff. We're fully surrendered to the Lord. We're definitely not going to be grihastas. We're not going to do all this ashrama stuff. We're just going to do Sankirtan. So this is one of the many lessons we can learn from this third canto, that the systematic planning for regular promotion of self-realization is great. It's fantastic, especially for those who are not fully surrendered to the Lord. Let's try to be in the latter category. Hare Krishna. I think I should stop there, right? Because we all have so many things to do in Krishna's service today. And I've managed to not have a coughing fit yet.
Yeah.
I'll ask if you have any feedback or corrections, Sahadev Prabhu, or any of the devotees, please.
Hare Krishna. Thank you so much, YASODEVA Prabhu. Not just today, but almost every single time I've heard you speak, I appreciate you speaking so much, because every single time you spoke, whatever you said was very relatable. And I believe everyone here can relate to what you were sharing. Dear devotees, if anyone may have questions, comments, reflections, realizations you may want to ask or share, please indicate by using the hand emoji or your physical hand, and you'll be asked to unmute to ask your question or share your reflections. Hare Krishna. See, it's very interesting you were describing Lord Chaitanya coming down to the lowest of the lowest. Just as naturally, water flows to the lowest level or direction. Here is the trouble, though, because I always believe that I am the lowest of the lowest. I say I believe because sometimes the false ego tells me otherwise. But most of the time I believe that I am the lowest of the lowest. And because I'm the lowest of the lowest, there are so many unwanted, unfavorable things to practicing devotional service that I'm still holding on to. Because like if someone is in the mode of tamas, they enjoy nasty things, you know. I know in my country and many other parts of the world, some people enjoy eating the waste of certain animals. You know, the bowel movement of certain animals, yes.
I've heard about that as well. Some special coffee that's eaten by a plant and then defecated, or eaten by some animal, and then they defecate it, and then the people take the coffee.
Yes. And If you told these people, hey, this is nasty, it's going to tell you what is wrong with you. So I am down, which is a positive thing that Lord Chaitanya will come to me. But I'm still holding on to all these unwanted things. I just can't let go of them. So what do I do? What do I do to let go of these negative things and remain in my lowest position so that I can possibly tap into Lord Chaitanya's mercy? How do I do it? Hare Krishna.
You asking me?
Yes.
Prabhu, you already know better than me.
No. You are representing Srila Yasadeva. So you're wearing a different hat at the moment.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
One of my dear god brothers, Kaila Tirtha Prabhu, he said the answer to every how question is chant Hare Krishna. How do I become more devoted? How do I become more attached to Krishna? How do I overcome my attachments to this thing? Chanting Hare Krishna solves all of these problems and more. And Haridas Thakur, he says that to these, who are those guys? They were very inimical to him. They wanted to beat him, but they were beating him. And he said that the effect of chanting Hare Krishna, even with offense, or even in the stage of clearing offense, namabhasa, is that it eliminates all of the unwanted things, in life, all of our attachments, all of our problems. But the real purpose of chanting Hare Krishna, Krishna Nama Mahamantra Etasvabhava, no. Krishna Mantra Hoite Habe Samsara Mochana, Krishna Mantra Hoite Habe Samsara Mochana, Krishna Nama Hoite Pabe Krishnera Chanana. Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, he said even more to Prakashananda Saraswati, that the effect of chanting the holy names is that samsara mochana, that our attachment to this material world and that repeated cycle of samsara just becomes ended. It's eliminated. But then he says the real effect, Krishna Nama Mahamantra, samsara mochana, Krishna Mantra Hoite Pabe Krishnera Chanana. The real effect is that one attains the lotus feet of Krishna. Actually, that's the answer to all how questions. We chant Hare Krishna, really chant Hare Krishna, and it can be accomplished. But if we want to expedite that process, then you find that devotee who has all the qualities that you want. You find that devotee who is very attached to the Lord's holy names. You find that devotee who is detached from the bodily concept of life, and you just stand next to them as much as possible. You just beg for their association. You serve them, and you say, Prabhu, honestly, I want to be more Krishna conscious like you. Can you help me? Can you help me, please? I want to be Krishna conscious like you. But we're so proud. It's hard for us to do this. But that's the expedited method. Just like, you live in some countries and you have to do some official paperwork. And if you pay a little money bribe to someone, then it's expedited, right? I've seen when I visit my wife's family in Kazakhstan, it's the easy way to get things done. You give a little money and things happen faster. So same, by associating with the devotees, all perfection can be attained within a moment. We just have to go and beg, just like you have to beg some government officer with some bribe, and then they expedite the process. We go to a Vaishnava, we beg, we say, please, I can't be Krishna conscious without you. If we really meant it, then it happens very fast. Yeah. I think you know this better than me, Prabhu, but you're just forcing me to say this for my own purification.
No, in fact, thank you so much for answering this question of mine. And I must say that I'm particularly glad with the expedite part of the answer, because who am I to undermine or doubt what Lord Chaitanya says? The power of the holy names of the Lord, Hare Krishna Mahamantra. But I believe that some of us are just repeating words. We're not chanting. Even though there's no waste of time, is no loss. But because we're just repeating syllables, we oftentimes do not taste or experience the real potency of the holy names of the Lord. I have witnessed about 4 different times, 4 different devotees. The very day they became so much ecstatic in chanting Hare Krishna Mahamantra was the very day they blooped. I think I've shared this here before. There was one devotee called Bhakta Peter, a very wonderful devotee. And the very day he left the temple, he was chanting so intensely, so seriously. But he had packed everything. He said he was leaving. He was going back to his hometown. And that very moment, one new aspirant visited the temple. And he actually preached to this person that these people are wonderful. The teachings is amazing. If you stay with them, you'll be happy. And then this very new aspirant saw this guy with his bag. So he asked him, "Where are you going?" He says, "I'm leaving. I don't want to live with these people anymore." So
he'll be back.
Definitely.
He'll be back in this life or the next life.
Definitely. That's one thing. It's good you said that, because Krishna is such that once you taste him, you can never abandon him. That's why some people used to think that these people, they get programmed and we have to deprogram them, you know. Because, well, thank you so much. Harichakra Prabhu has something to ask or share. Harichakra Prabhu, please, you may unmute.
Harichakra Prabhu, can you hear us?
Yeah, Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Dandava Pranam. All glories to you, Yasodeva Prabhu.
No,
and all glories to the assembled devotees, and all glories to Gurudev, glories to Prabhupada.
Jai.
Yeah, my question is coming from the controversy that you created about Vanashram and chanting of the holy name, trying to get ourselves attached to Sankirtan. In my mind, something was just going on in my mind. I was thinking it's like, I guess maybe it might be a mistake that we usually make as devotees, or not just devotees, but general practitioners of the path of love of God. It's like a devotee might meet a Christian or a Muslim, and most of the time, what we do is sometimes we try to do some comparison, and in comparing, we compare a devotee who is very serious on the path of God to a Christian who is not serious. And once you do that comparison, we miss the point. So similarly, if we compare a devotee who is like tuned to like the process of Vanashram as to a devotee who is fully absorbed in Sankirtan, if we do that comparison, then I think we also go wrong. Because if that is the way we have to compare it, then why would Prabhupada? Prabhupada taught us initially, he did not teach us Vanashram. He taught us Sankirtan. And he encouraged us to establish ourselves deeply in Sankirtan. And yet, he said that 50% of my work is not done, which means that 50% is also very important. So, personally, I'm thinking that as much as we are trying to absorb ourselves in Sankirtan, I think we might as well also be, deeply involved in trying to create and be able to finish the 50% that Prabhupada said is left. In this way, there will be no loss. Because if we abandon Sankirtan and try to establish Vanashram, as to we abandoning Varnashram and trying to absorb ourselves in Sankirtan. Whichever way we do it, Sankirtan will be superior to establishment of Varnashram, right? But if we absorb ourselves in Sankirtan and as well try to simultaneously try to establish Varnashram, what do you think? What do you think about that? Because I'm thinking that both it's not, even though Varnashram is purely on the bodily platform, but I guess Prabhupada was aiming at the world as a whole, the world as a whole. Because Prabhupada knew that we cannot just go out on Sankirtan and think that everybody will be interested in joining the Sankirtan party. So there must be a way to bring them closer. This is just my little opinion. What do you think?
I agree with you, Prabhu. I don't want to presume the mind of Srila Prabhupada, but one possible reconciliation of this is that Prabhupada wanted us to be transcendental Sankirtan devotees, but to externally demonstrate Varnashrama for the guidance of people in general. He gave himself as an example once while lecturing on this verse in Bhagavad Gita, chapter 3, text 25. Sakta karmanya vidvamso yata kurvanti bharata kuryad vidvams tata saktas chikirshor loka sangraham. You remember this verse wherein Krishna says, as the ignorant perform their duties with attachment to results, the learned may similarly act, but without attachment, for the sake of leading people on the right path. One time while lecturing on this verse, Prabhupada said himself as an example. He said, why am I doing all of this? Creating farms, establishing so many buildings, managing accounts. He said, I'm a sannyasi. I can just sleep on the floor and eat 2 chapatis a day. This is what he said. He said, I don't need to be doing any of this, but I want to show to everyone else how to have a real society. So Prabhupada gave himself as an example, as an answer to your question, Hari Chakra Prabhu. Of course, I can't commune with him to ask him more directly, but that's one possible understanding. Just as you said, maybe we're meant to demonstrate Varnashrama to the world at large, while those of us who are followers of Srila Prabhupada should just be 100% surrendered to Sri Sri Radha Damodar and not even considering that my Varna or my ashrama is adding any value to my life. I just do it for the sake of leading others, but I'm completely detached, like this Bhagavad Gita verse says.
Hare Krishna.
Do you agree, Sahadev Prabhu?
Yeah. I pretty much agree to your answer, because actually I wanted to ask something in this regard, like what Hari Chakra Prabhu asked, because you kind of rhetorically asked us like to share some experiences in our teenage, and
yes,
I was
through puberty especially.
Yeah, puberty, yes, and I was thinking about so many things, I remember, I think I shared this with a few friends at work some time ago, that there is a particular herb which it said that if you rub this herb on your chin and then on top of your mouth, your armpit, your pubic area, you grow hair faster. And as we were growing up, we wanted to be adults. So everybody was rubbing this herb. And then when we actually developed hair, like, I do not want to have a single hair on my chin. Something I was dying to get in it. I got it, now I don't want it. So I believe Srila Prabhupada had advised us that, especially Grihastas, externally we should appear very, very much attached, but internally we should be very much detached. Because if we do not learn this act of detachment, then when that day comes that we have to detach ourselves. We will not even be able to survive.
Mm.
And I have seen quite a number of times married couples, those who have been married for 50, 60 years, they should be in the Guinness Book of Records, especially in this day and age. One party dies and the other one doesn't really live long. He or she also passes on.
Mm. Mm-hmm.
Because of the, excuse me to say, I'm not trying to demean anyone, but due to the attachment and now the separation, one feels I cannot live anymore. So I am also with the opinion that it is not like either or, but both. We should try to establish an ashram and at the same time understand that the goal of human life is not Varnashram. The Varnashram is a means to helping us get to the goal, which is love of God, which Prabhupada primarily gave. So I think your precious guru, His Holiness Dharamita Maharaj, has one book. In fact, I asked him, he said he himself did not write, but I think he contributed, which is called the Varnashram Manifesto. You know that book?
That was a long time ago, yes.
Yeah, very beautiful book. Very, very beautiful book. I encourage the witnesses to read it. So I asked him some questions from that book, which he answered so perfectly. But I'm not trying to lengthen my talks. I am with the same opinion with you, Prabhuji, that we have to try to establish the 50% job that was uncompleted by Srila Prabhupada. He gave us that responsibility to do. But at the same time, we do not have to give up the Harinam Sankirtan because that is the main thing. Just like you rightly said, as we were reading, these things are supposed to lead us to the ultimate. So that is just my little opinion. And back to you, Shri Yashodev.
Just one more verse which corroborates your point, saying the exact same thing in the Chaitanya Charitamrita Madhya Lila, chapter 22, text number 158, wherein it is said, Seva sadhaka rupena siddha rupena chatrahi tadbhava lipsunakarya vraja lokanasarata. The advanced devotee who is inclined to spontaneous loving service should follow the activities of a particular associate of Krishna's in Vrindavan. He should execute service externally as a regulative devotee, as well as internally from his self-realized position. Thus, he should perform devotional service both externally and internally. And although the context of this verse is more about Raganuga Bhakti, like the Brajbasis, still it implies that there can be an internal and an external. Externally, we should demonstrate to the world how to live according to certain regulative principles, obviously. Varna and ashrama, recognizing these things is very beneficial for your spiritual progress. But internally, we should just be serving the lotus feet of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, hearing and chanting and sharing with others. That's our meditation. So it seems that it's possible to do both, according to Chaitanya Charitamrita.
Yeah. Thank you so much.
Hare Krishna. I guess we're all in agreement, which is unusual in Kali Yuga. We're not supposed to agree with each other, but because of association, the ill effects of Kali Yuga is not working on us. And somehow we all agree.
Jagannath Prabhu, what do you say? Jagannath Prabhu is one of the three wise men that visited Lord Jesus Christ. It says,
Really?
Yes, the reason being that it is said those who know speak, and those who are wise, they listen, they hear. Like an Pandit Prabhu is always listening, hearing. But after hearing so much, sometimes you have to pour it out to also distribute and share. So, Dr. Prabhu, what do you have to say? I hope he's not driving. Harichakra Prabhu, do you have anything else to ask, or you are comfortable with the answer? Then we may call it a day, since our speaker is not feeling so well. Prabhuji, our apologies for keeping you.
Just allergies. It's okay.
Yeah,
I'm allergic to the material
Just
world.
go on for a minute. I'll be back in a minute.
All right. See, I have had this question about Lord Brahma and his children. We see Lord Brahma, his children sometimes marry each other. And we know that it is very, very, very sinful for a man to marry his own sister. Now, what do we say in that regard? If I'm not mistaken, I think Swayambhuva Manu and his wife are siblings.
Okay. If not siblings, then also cousins, yes, because
Yeah.
Daksha is one of Brahma's sons, and Daksha has many daughters that then marry the great rishis.
Yeah.
They produce a lot of progeny.
Yeah.
My understanding, Prabhu, and this is esoteric, it's from Mahabharata, but there's a part in the Mahabharata where Arjuna, he goes up to the heavenly planets, he's in Indraloka, and he sees one of the progenitors of his family line, his great-great-great-great-great-great-great-great-great-grandmother, Urjvasi or something. I can't remember the name. Forgive me.
Thank you very much.
And when he sees her, she is attracted to him and wants to have some relationship. But Arjuna recognizes, you're actually my great-great-great-great-great-great-grandmother.
Yeah.
And he's like, he's bowing down, he's all respectful.
Oh,
And
Mother
she says to
Yasodeva?
him, Urvasi?
Urvasi.
Thank you.
Yeah.
And then he says to her, you're my great-great-grandmother. But then apparently, according to Mahabharata, she says to him, those sort of rules don't apply here. We have different bodies.
I remember.
Hare Krishna. I don't know.
I remember now.
She said we have different bodies. The demigod bodies, they don't produce waste. They live much longer. They have, extended sensory powers. So I think the detrimental effects of, inter-family breeding that we see in this Earth planet doesn't necessarily apply. My only reference is that one story from Mahabharata. I can't really say anything more than that.
Yeah.
Hare Krishna.
Yeah, Hare Krishna. But as I was asking the question, I was also thinking, like, I am married to my sister because myself and my wife, we all belong to the same father. We all have the same spiritual master. The spiritual master is our father.
Okay.
So I think, spiritually speaking, that is a possibility, just like you gave this beautiful story. But when we are on the mundane material platform, that is a taboo. Even thinking of it alone is enough to send you to hell. So it's very interesting. While you said Urvasi was telling Arjun, hey, the system here is different from over there.
She's basically saying it's okay, we can do it.
Yeah.
Arjuna didn't, by the way, in case you're wondering.
Yeah,
he still
didn't. Yeah. Well, thank you so much. In fact, Yasodeva, like I said, with all honesty, I appreciate you so much. Apart from how beautiful you speak, and I think you speak beautifully because you try to live what you speak. And I'll say me, I don't know about other devotees, but I am Mr. Nobody. But if there is anything I can ask of the Lord for you, I would say that may Shri Guru and Krishna continue to bless you and do more and more of what you're currently doing. Because some of you, or most of you may not be aware, YASODEVA Prabhu does lots of preaching work, and he usually preaches to the elite in society, university graduates. That does not mean that he does not preach to anybody else, but that is his main focus. And he's been so successful. And I was jokingly but seriously asking him what was his previous karma, what did he do in his previous birth to have his wife. His wife is amazing. His wife is very resourceful, very cheerful, can relate with anybody, everybody else, yet very, very Paka Krishna conscious individual. So that is part of the reason why they're able to affect lots of souls in State College here in Pennsylvania. So, like I said, if Krishna would listen to my prayer for at least one time, a few times Krishna listens to my prayer. But oftentimes, it's like I'm non-existent at all. I pray and Krishna turns his face the other way around, that Krishna blesses you more. He's already blessing you, but we are asked to be greedy. So we're asking Lord Krishna to bless you more, so you can do more of what you're doing already. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Prabhu.
Yes, thank you so
You want to
much.
bless me? Just let me stand next to you when you lead kirtan. That's all I want in this life.
Oh,
I just want
no,
to be
no,
close to you while you're leading kirtan.
no, Prabhuji.
You've already blessed me
Oh.
so much.
Sir, I'm back.
Oh, you're back? Okay, Hare
Yeah,
Krishna.
you know, this is what Yaso was talking about.
Yes.
We should forget about all these things and just go on Sankirtan and chant. You try to discuss about the Lord a little bit and something else is cropping in.
Well, the Lord knows best.
Yeah, well, I had wanted to draw attention to a similar thing in the biblical level. You see, the whole of the Old Testament was putting emphasis on Vanashram, right?
Mm.
And the New Testament was putting emphasis on Sankirtan.
Interesting.
Yeah.
And so the Christians are thinking the Vanashram, which is being propagated by Old Testament, is bogus.
It's dead.
It's dead.
Yeah.
Oh, all right. And Jesus drew the attention that, look, I did not come to destroy the Old Testament. I did not come to destroy the law. I came to fulfill it. In other words, he said he was trying to draw the attention that Vanashram system that has been propagated in the Old Testament, I did not come to destroy it, but I came to reinforce it. And the reinforcement is that whilst you are practicing that Vanashram, you should know that your goal is what? Getting yourself absorbed in the in love of God. And the Pharisees were disagreed with him. A lot of people disagreed with him because they were so attached to the Vanashram that they were not interested in getting absorbed in the holy name, in love of God. So that's why I was trying to say that sometimes if we are not careful, we may get ourselves absorbed in one thing and minimize the other. But in actuality, my Guru Maharaj, there is a saying in my country that if you have too many farms, if you have like 2 or 3 farms, You should work on all of them at the same time, simultaneously work in all those farms. You cannot choose one farm and try to work on that particular farm and neglect the rest. No. So thank you, Yasho. Like Sade was saying, I mean, the best thing a devotee can do is to become an example for others to be motivated. And I guess you are doing exactly that. The motivation you give to especially the students in State College is so wonderful. You bring them to Ketan and they are like, it's as if they have been devotees for like ages.
Yeah, it's amazing.
It's amazing. How can you bring new people to Ketan and they are behaving as if they've been doing it for ages?
Yeah.
I think it's you are just being infectious. Your COVID-19 is infecting them like anything. So keep it up.
Group effort. Your daughters are helping. Jagannath Pandit's daughters are helping. I just pay the rent. Actually, the other devotees are doing everything.
So keep it up. Keep it up.
Yeah. So, Yashodeva Prabhu, do you probably have any concluding remark while we try to bring this to a final closure?
Yes, chant Hare Krishna.
You will never go wrong with that. So, thank you so much. Dear devotees, we're going to humbly request you all to kindly unmute yourselves. And we all, with one voice, one heart, with love, chant the Hare Krishna Maha Mantra as has been suggested several times today. The Hare Krishna Maha Mantra to express our deepest appreciation to our revered speaker for today, His Grace YASODEVA Prabhu, for sharing his love and wisdom with us all today. Jai. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Ananta Koti Vaishnava Vrinda ki jai. Hare Krishna ki jai. Krishna Prabhupada ki jai. All grace assembled Vaishnava devotees ki jai.
Jai.